Here are some things that I have learned since quitting my corporate job about 3 years ago and becoming a full-time YouTuber. I went from being someone with very little self-belief who would often question her purpose and who felt quite depressed at times to someone who has built a life that they are happy to wake up to. And while I don't have all the answers, no one ever does, no one ever will, here is what I would tell you if you were looking to change the direction of your life in some way. There's obviously so much more to cover on this topic than I will be able to do in this short video, so let me know if you would like part 2. Everything starts with believing in yourself. Have you ever heard anything more cliche? Well, be prepared for more. I used to categorize people into one of the two. Those who were ordinary, like me, who were meant to follow the curriculum of life. You know, school, college, 9 to 5, retirement, death. And then there were those who did the cool things. They had something us ordinaries did not, so they were the actors, entrepreneurs, musicians, artists. They and or their work was something to be watched and admired from afar. Sort of like how Britney sang in her song, "There's only 2 types of people in the world, the ones that entertain and the ones that observe." It was only when I truly started to believe that I too could do anything and be anything that I wanted, and I will get to how later, that my life started to change. And I now live by the motto that everything is possible. That if there's a will, there's a way, that believing that you can means that you're halfway there and all of that. So if you take anything from this video, let it be this. How can I too start believing that I am capable of being and doing anything that I want in this life? Here is one of the things that did it for me. Change of environment. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, said Max Planck. You know how you sometimes have those moments in life that just flip a switch in your mind? I would like to tell you about one of those very important moments of mine. So I was at an event a few years ago. This was before I started YouTube. It was quite random. I knew a couple of people who were going, and I initially did not want to go. Shocker. But I decided to go anyway. And at this event, I did quite a bit of socializing. I know, right? Anyway, I was introduced to a lot of people. And so, you know, when you have those just normal, small, talky conversations of, "Oh, so what do you do for work?" And every single person that I had a conversation with that night had their own thing going on. One owned a jewelry company. One was a producer. One had a podcast. Another had their own coffee shop. One had a tech startup. It was like a new world for me. I was used to being surrounded by people who didn't like their job and spent all day complaining about it while doing nothing to change their situation, and I too was one of those people. And I remember calling my mom the day after the event, telling her about it and how it made me think that if all those people can go their own way and talk about their job with such joy and enthusiasm, why do I need to settle for less? And why have I? They were people who saw possibilities rather than limitations. And crazily enough, from that day on, so did I. And now you obviously cannot go to that same event and you may not have, you know, this moment that I had, but you can say yes more and you can invite serendipity more into your life. You can be more curious and you can decide to distance yourself from naysayers. You can start over. You can. Just period. Better sorry than safe. Oh, what, Lana? We know that English is not your first language, but we all know that that's not how you say it. That's backwards. I know, but here's what I mean. Let me again go back to one of my own examples. When I considered quitting my job a few years ago to pursue YouTube full-time, I had 2 options. Stay at my job and be safe, so have my secure source of income and whatnot, or leave and be uncertain and maybe regret doing it to begin with. So I asked myself, how sorry is too sorry for me to bear? My thought process went something like, if I leave YouTube and it doesn't work out, how bad is that? The answer was, well, it may sting, but I can always just get another job. So the sorry is not life-altering in a negative, devastating way. Let's take another example. So when I have taken a leap of faith and sent a risky text or an email, the worst case scenario would have been getting ignored. I have asked myself, would I rather risk being sorry or would I rather just not send the text and be safe? I hope this makes sense. The point here is to figure out for yourself and ask, how sorry are you willing to be for it to be worth not staying safe? So one thing that I have spent over a year doing now is building my clothing brand, Ru, and there is a risk that it's not going to pay off. Perhaps all that time and effort I've invested may not generate the results that I'm hoping for. But I've decided that even in that case, the sorry will be worth it, especially since I've been having so much fun planning and building it, and I have found a super fun software to do it all in. Take a look. I think of myself as a bit of a messy creative. I need to be able to move things around and merge things together, to mix text with doodling and mind maps. This is why when it comes to creative endeavors, I've typically stuck to using pen and paper because I just haven't found a digital tool that allows the same creative freedom despite trying so many different ones throughout the years. Recently, however, I tried Milanote, who are also very kindly sponsoring us today, and I cannot express how excited I am about this. I am just a big nerd when it comes to anything that makes the creative process more fun and easy. So Milanote is a digital tool for organizing your creative projects. You can collect notes, reference images, plan tasks, and more all in one place. They have tons of built-in templates, so it's easy to get started, and you can share your ideas and your work with your colleagues within minutes. With Milanote, I have a blank canvas where I can build and develop my ideas in the stories that I want to tell and that I'm telling you guys. I'm currently using Milanote to plan and expand my clothing line, Ru, which if you've been following me on Instagram, you know that we are about to release some tote bags very, very soon. I do honestly think that this may be the tool that I've been looking for to replace my analog way of doing things. Oh, and they also have the app, so I have it on my desktop and on my phone. For anyone who likes doing things on the go, I'm one of them. The best thing is that Milanote is available for free with no time limit, so you can sign up using my link in the description box and start your next creative project. It won't just happen. If it is to be, it is up to me, wrote William Johnson. I spent a big portion of my life waiting for life to figure itself out. I would tell myself that someday I would make something out of myself, and someday I would get to do something I love, and someday it'll all be okay. What I've discovered is that someday is not a day that is coming. It is a day that you decide it is. Someday was the day that I decided to film my first YouTube video. It was the day that I decided to start planning for my first apartment. It was the day that I decided to finally get a dog. So you just have to ask yourself, when are you deciding that someday is going to be? And put it in your calendar. Literally, write it like this. This is someday I will put my first cover out on YouTube, or this is someday that I will get my Pilates membership, or this is someday that I will ask this person to go out with me, or whatever it is. Schedule someday, and that way it will come and you will literally see it coming in your calendar. Don't take pride in being a lone wolf. Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships, said Michael Jordan. In my opinion, there is nothing particularly cool about having accomplished something completely on your own, just like there is nothing shameful or less cool about having gotten help. Asking for advice is cool. Asking for feedback is cool. Taking a risk and reaching out to people is cool. Seeing someone who has done something that you aspire to do and being like, hey, so I know that you are doing this thing and I have thought about doing something like that for myself. What advice do you have for someone who is just starting out? That is cool. Make peace with cringe. Nothing is cringe unless you decide that it is. And I'll just leave it at that. Don't underestimate tiny achievements. When I first started doing YouTube, I would celebrate all of the tiny successes. I had to in order to keep going. I charged my camera. Yes, that meant that I was preparing to go out and film some footage. Filmed some footage, awesome. That meant that I could go home and start editing a video. Uploaded a video and it got 2 thumbs up. Wow, awesome. I personally think it's better to set the bar low, but to do something every single day and to recognize and celebrate what you're doing than to set the bar too high. It's all about maintaining momentum to keep swimming, because guess what? Small strokes beats drowning. Set goals that sound absolutely ridiculous. Now, while I do celebrate tiny achievements, I always aim beyond what I think I'm even capable of. I'm not modest with my goals. I don't care if it sounds ridiculous. I'm not bothered by someone giving me the side eye when I tell them about it. A few years ago, reaching 1 million subscribers on YouTube sounded outrageous, yet here we are. We did this together. And if someone is like, who the hell do you think you are? You say, someone you will never be if you keep that attitude up. Maybe that's a bit harsh, don't say that.